Welcome to the Tim Hill podcast and the live show. Here we are on a Saturday morning. We are live, or Saturday lunchtime, should I say. So we're now live. I've already got one guest lined up. So if you want to join in, all you need to do is put a comment in the comments box, and we'll take it from there. So I'm just going to bring in my first guest of the show, and welcome, Steve.
Morning, Tim. Welcome, or afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good. Just making the most of a day off of work.
Sophie with you today? Was she work?
She did a night shift last night, so she's in her bed until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'm guessing.
Okay. So she'll be up later then.
Yeah, I did ask her if she wants to get up early to come on the show, but I got some sort of inaudible grunt when I asked her if she wanted to wake up early.
Was she on another night shift tonight then?
Fridays and Sundays she's doing that now, so she tends to sleep most of Saturday day and try and stay up Saturday night as well.
All right, fair one. What was I going to say? So we're going out on YouTube as well. So I don't know whether anybody's picked up on YouTube. So we've got one person watching at the moment. So if that one person that's watching, just say hello in the comments, and then we'll see if you're there. So this is all good fun. Right. So what are we going to have a chat about, Steve? How's work going anyway?
Yeah, really well. Since I've seen you last, I got promoted on January the 1st, so I'm part of the supervisory team now,
All right.
which more responsibility, more money to boot. Sadly, more time spent away from home because of all the courses required for training, but part and parcel of it. Once all the courses are under the belt, then it should even out a little bit. So
Yeah.
what that means is, as well as doing the actual hands-on work now, I get to whenever the supervisor isn't there, or whenever he fancies a time on the tools, to essentially sit and do all the administration jobs and what's called the COSCO, the control of the safety critical workers.
Yeah.
Making sure essentially that everyone has the right ticks in the boxes to be able to do the job safely. Um, not always as easy as it sounds. There's different jobs that require different levels of the same qualification. So before you give anyone any work, you've got to check that they've got the right skills in place. Sadly, sometimes they don't, and they've been doing the job already after telling you that they've got the right ticks in the box, which you have to go down the disciplinary route, which isn't pleasant. Or rather than the disciplinary route, a sort of a chat with someone to say you actually don't have the qualification you thought you had, or you did
Yeah.
have it, but it ran out 6 months ago, and now we need to put you on more training type of thing.
Yeah. Yes. I suppose there's a bit of wokeness going on there as well, is it? All
Yeah,
this,
the
this
the
stuff.
methods at which you sort of deal with things now aren't the way that they would have been when I was in the situation as some of the youngsters that are working for me now.
So brilliant. What are your plans for the boat this year? What are you going to be doing? Going to be able to
I'm
get away
starting
at
off
all?
with the RNSA Yarmouth Rally in May. That's my start of season plan. She's still currently got no boom, no guardrails, and a new tiller required on it. Obviously, I started the refit project on the boat January 2020, which seemed like a great idea because I had a month
Oh,
off work, and then
yeah.
we all know where that ended up. 6 months of not really being able to gain access to the club, and then another 3 months later on in the year, and before I
Yeah.
knew it, it was 2021, and then I was working away a bit further from home. So every time I came home, it was Sophie wanted to spend more time with me rather than spending the time watching me work on a boat.
So what's happening with the racing season? That starts next month, doesn't it?
Yeah, the RNSA Wednesday night race series starts in March. I've got no
I
intentions of
I think
entering
you might
the.
find that it's the Hornet race season.
Oh yeah, they changed the name of it now. I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
out of habit. That was 10 years almost. I've been taking part in that, and it only changed its name last year.
Yeah. when we took it over. So
yeah, I still in my head call it the RNSA sort of
Wednesday
night
series.
but it's now open to everybody. So
Yeah. Well, I'm open to sort of jump on a boat occasionally just to have an evening out. So
that was how it always used to be before I had my own boat.
yeah,
I had my own boat, but it was in Key Lane as a fixer-upper, and it was maybe a bit more than I should have taken on. And I had every intention of doing the Wednesday night series until I discovered the boat that I'd bought had a twisted keel and
no,
was going to cost 3 times what I paid for the boat to replace. So that didn't
scrapped it.
happen. But they always had the theory that you can just turn up and there'll always be a place on at least one of the yachts.
Yeah. Let's just get that camera angle right there. How's that? That looks better. Yeah. So I think I need to put the word out that I'll be looking to join boats on a crew. So we'll see how we get on with that one.
There's a few people that normally go out on the Wednesdays. I think Tanya normally goes out with Moonfleet.
Yeah.
And Jeff normally takes Wizard out in the Wednesday series.
Yeah, I've been on Wizard a few times. So
there's a few other of the boats. They used to take the Sultan boats out, which was well, going back some, it was Head Over Heels and Flashlight, and they replaced them with Thunder Flash and Swordfish.
Yeah.
So if they're available and they've got a skipper around, that was how I sort of got into the Wednesday night racing. Was I went out on what was Head Over Heels, a Della 34 for multiple years, and then when they got rid of the boat and they bought Swordfish from the Fleet Air Arm, that came up to Gosport, and I was the first person to get to skipper it 2 weeks after I got my ticket. That was we came absolutely dead last because the boat wasn't rigged for sailing. It was quite a heavy cruiser, and somebody had the genius idea to put a boat with no spinnaker and a heavy complement of cruising sails with only 2 people on board into a race.
Excellent.
I didn't have any charts for the Solent either, so when they were giving the boys' names, it was sort of local knowledge for most of them. And when they named one that we didn't know where was, I just had the general principle of follow the boat in front and we can't go far wrong.
Did you have to put the donkey on just to keep up?
No, it cruises really well. It was purely on the downwind leg when we've just got a foresail poled out and everyone else put the spinnakers up, and you just sort of see them disappear into the distance.
Take off like scolded cats, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be on this for about an hour and a half. I've got to finish at 1:30 because I'm doing an interview with another guest for the podcast at 1:45. So that should be a bit of fun. So at the moment, if anybody's watching, can I just pop a comment in the comments box or the chat box just to say hi? And then and we'll go from there. And also just smash the like button. Need you just to smash the like button. We have to, apparently you have to do all these plugs for doing this stuff. But we'll just change what we've been down the bottom.
I've got the intention of with all the sort of various barbecuing and outdoor cooking that I do, I've got the intention of doing that, developing that into some sort of YouTube channel. I took some raw footage and tried to experiment with various software that was free, and yeah, I'm not probably cut out to ever be a sort of digital content creator, editor. I've got the content, I just putting it together, it was very jittery and jumpy. I tried to merge clips together to match the background music, and it turns out that when you sort of merge the video clips together, it merges the music as well using the software that I had. So instead of being a sort of 7-minute video to a backing track with an intro and outro to take me over the 10-minute mark, the whole thing compressed into under 6 minutes and sounded like a screaming banshee in places.
Well, I've done some of my podcasts as videos, so I've been videoing people at the same time, so that's been quite fun. Um, so yeah, that was the interesting part. Oh, we've got 2 people watching now, which is great. So if both of you could do 2 little things, can you just hit the like button and also put a comment in the chat box just to say hi? And if you want to come on, give us a shout and I'll ping you the link. So what are we up to? What are we talking about now? It's all getting good.
Spoke about a bit of sailing this year.
Yeah.
Spoke about intentions to do the barbecue. Well, I guess the next thing
Yeah.
that I've got is Valentine's Day. Obviously, I've asked you outside of
Yeah.
this if you were going to the club's meal, but we had other bits and pieces going
Yeah,
on.
I've got something on this evening. We can't make it, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's the lowest numbers that I think we've seen in a few years, but I'm guessing a lot of people are still a bit iffy post COVID to
yeah,
go out and do
I think
things.
there's 50 going tonight.
Yeah, I think that was the last number that that they told me on Tuesday when I was down.
Yeah, it's up to 50 for tonight, so it should be a good evening. Should be quite good, I think. There's we've got a different singer to what we normally have. We normally have Call Me Frank. He couldn't make it, so we drafted in somebody else. So that'll be a really good indication. And we've got a band coming in June, I think. Was it the 9th of June? We've got a band. They're really, really good. It's one of the guys that Brad knows. Well, I know him as well, Danny, and he's got a group. We went to see him a few weeks back, and they're pretty good. So we've got them coming in June, which hopefully will be a good outdoor event. Hopefully, with all this global warming that we're getting, we should be able to have it outside. No, lucky it'll rain.
Yeah, I can see the whole protect the environment for the future kind of thing, but the way I'm looking at it is I'm actually getting white winters and hotter summers without having to pay to go abroad. So
Yeah,
it's
not that you want to go abroad at the moment because they've got some pretty draconian measures going on. That's for sure.
oh yeah, we were looking at Sophie and I were looking at various honeymoon destinations,
Yeah,
and for medical reasons she couldn't have the jabs, and as daft as it sounds, even though it's a medical reason that she can't have the jab, she's outright been told that she can't go to a list of about 60 countries
yeah.
unless she gets a letter from the doctor that physically says that she's exempt. But they said she's not exempt, she just can't have it yet. She needs to go into 24-hour observation from having it. Something when she was a child, her brain swelled up when she had like the MMR vaccine. So they've essentially said that they're not risking her having the COVID jab, so they won't give her an exemption certificate, but
Yeah.
they also won't give her the jab, which means that we're almost 8 months into it and can't even begin to look at a honeymoon unless we do a staycation.
Well, you say that. I mean, there's some fantastic places in this country. There really are. That's why not spend your money in this country? I
Yeah,
think I think I think this country needs every penny that it can get at the moment.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Cornwall's always a winner. Various
Yeah,
little beaches and coves and bits and pieces. We considered just taking the boat out and doing a couple of weeks of around the south coast. I
yeah,
think even though she's quite small, I could probably get Cherie to the Scillies and back if I timed the weather perfectly.
yeah. I
Although
mean, the
if I,
Sillies. I mean, you wouldn't regret going there at all. It
if I
is.
get it wrong, I'll probably have a few regrets on the crossing because she is only 24 foot. But I think that if I got it right and timed it, that would be a brilliant couple of weeks. Just leave the boat there, fly back, and then bring it back a few weeks later.
Yeah. I mean, look at Jill. Jill took her 24-foot around the UK, pretty
Yeah,
much single-handed. So it's possible.
I remember seeing. I heard the podcast for that one just prior to Christmas. I think you did, Jill,
Yeah,
wasn't I remember seeing something about that in Practical Boat Owner and recognizing the boat, going, that looks familiar. And then when they put a picture up of, I was like, oh, that's actually one of our club members that's in there.
Yeah. So I mean, she's done really well. Yeah, that was a really good podcast. Actually, she came across really, really well. We had a really good chat.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to that one.
Mm.
Yeah, the other place that I'm considering sort of honeymooning is, it's a little bit weird, but Sophie likes doing the snowboarding. I'm a complete novice, but enjoy it when she's convinced me to give it a go.
Yeah.
Dry slopes only at the minute, much to the disapproval of my elbows and my lower back when I got the mat rash when I'd gone over a few times. But I thought about, while there's still snow up there, to go up north of the border and visit Glencoe maybe, and go in the ski lodge. But just across the road from that is the I don't know if you know it. It's called the Deer Hotel. Where the Glencoe ski and
Yeah.
snowboard resort is,
Yeah.
the hotel across the road quite literally has a few hundred wild deer in the grounds that quite happily just come up and nudge you and expect to be fed carrots. So we've considered that. Maybe the
And they've still got some pretty
NC 500
draconian measures up in Scotland at the moment.
Yeah, Cranky's not really reduced the restrictions quite as much as we've got down here, so that's what's putting a hold on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Glencoe's all right. I've skied up there in the past. It's a bit like skiing on ice because it's sort of down a valley. The wind comes down there and just blows all the snow off, and it just leaves a really hard sort of ice pack underneath. But yeah, it's all right skiing up there. I mean, alternatively, you could try one of the ski centres, the ski domes. There's one at Hemel, there's one up at Milton Keynes, there's one up at Castleford, up north.
We've been to the Milton Keynes one before. That was a funny story. Sophie got invited to go to some sort of snowboard weekender.
Yeah.
It was Escape, but it was the one that was in Manchester that they invited her to. She read it wrong, and on the email it mentioned the one in Milton Keynes, thought it was that, booked the hotel, turned up, and on the first day rang someone and went, "Where is everybody?" They went, "Oh, we're in the snow dome." And she went, "Well, I'm here and I can't see anyone." It turns out that we're only a few hundred miles away from where we were supposed to be. Which,
Excellent.
yeah, so we spent a weekend. More to the point, Sophie spent a weekend sort of skiing and snowboarding. I tried to get some beginners classes in, and they wanted, because it was short notice, £50 an hour, and they wanted 6 hours before they'd let you out on the ramps. And I went, well, it's only £25 for an unlimited session, but you want me to pay £300 just to be able to go in. So no, I decided that I'd explore MK instead, and I found that right where the ski and snowboard centre is, that there's a Weatherspoons round the corner.
Yeah.
So Sophie got to go on the ice for a few hours, and I got to see the ice in the bottom of my glass.
Brilliant. Right, what's going on over here? Let's have a quick look. Don't need any of that. Yeah, I did quite a bit of skiing up at Milton Keynes because I used to live up that way, and when they were building it, when they just finished building it, I was part of a ski club up there, and they invited us in to do some testing on it. So I did a lot of sessions free when it first opened, or before it opened, just to trial it out. It was great fun. They used to piece bash it, and then we used to go in and rip it up. And I was on telemark ski, so I was quite different to most people. I'm a big telemark skier. I skied for the army at one stage, up against the navy at the Memoir a long time ago, and the army won, but they wouldn't let us have the prize.
Was that the ski and snowboard championships you do at the end of January, beginning of February sort of time?
That's the one that the navy put together. There was about 1,200 people going it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, what I liked about that, I never got the chance to do it because of the position that we had. Stokers on submarines was always quite on demand.
Yeah.
Well, not undermanned, but there was never quite enough people without the trainees, so you struggled to sort of get the time to go and do it, because it was, you're at sea for 3 months, and then when you come back, you had the maintenance periods and to get all your leave in.
Yeah.
And I never actually ended up with a dual crew submarine. I was always on what was called gold crew, so it was only one crew. So you
Yeah.
had 3 months at sea, you come back, do your maintenance period, get your leave in, and then you're back to sea again. So trying to justify taking someone out of a crew for sort of 2 3 weeks just to go and have a bit of a jolly was
Yeah. It's a bit wrong, though, isn't it?
yeah,
When you
it
look at
was.
it, I mean, you're not allowed to have that opportunity that all the other guys have. So yeah, I mean, I used to make the opportunities, particularly when I was in London. I used to organise for guys to go skiing. I used to organise guys to go sailing, and of course they had to have a leader to go with them. So I had to put myself forward, as you do.
The injury that got me medically discharged actually was, it ended my career, and I'm gutted about that. But in a weird way, that was one of the best things that happened, because it took me out of that cycle. And because I couldn't actually uh, deploy or be on board a boat, they put me shoreside, and they asked me what my interests were. And when I said, well, I used to like sailing, like going out and about, so I ended up with a few months up in Taliban on us, looking after people that were doing there. So that was mountaineering, rock climbing, kayaking, and anything that my medical downgrade would actually allow me to do was taken full advantage of there.
Yeah,
And then I went into a phase 2 training establishment in HMS Sultan, and that's when I sort of rekindled with the Sultan boats. And yeah, once I'd done that, that was sailing every Wednesday. Made friends with people that were sailing at weekends, so sailing every weekend. The DO that I had over in the medical cell, yeah, the medical cell in Nelson. It was a bit of a weird one. I was working in Sultan and living there, but my DO was actually in Nelson, but I was under the care of a DO in Sultan. They had a
yeah,
few chats and said, well, if he likes sailing, let's stick him down at joint services. And then it went from sailing on Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings to probably 1 week every month out on the water, and ended up as part of the exercise Canary Gold, taking a boat from Gosport all the way down to the Canaries via A Coruña and all down the coast of Portugal. So yeah, I think I made up for 10.5 years of not being able to do something by getting just 8 weeks in Awana, followed by all the additional stuff.
brilliant. So that's how you really got into the sailing malarkey, was it?
I sailed when I was younger because I was a sea cadet. It all started with when I was 6 or 7. Uh, I seen a bunch of kids taking out what I later learned were mirrors and oppies, and a few toppers on a lake near where my gran lived. And I sort of walked up and was like, "Oh, how do you have a go at this?" And they pointed at this old sort of mean-looking fella, is the only way you could describe him. I walked up with not a fear in the world. My nan was sort of walking me around the lake and went, "Here, mister, how do I have a go on these boats?" basically. And he turned out to be a lovely bloke. He's like, "Oh yeah, how old are you, chappie?" He went, "Well, when you turn 10, come and join us and we'll teach you how to sail." And every time I seen him out on the water, I was pestering him to have a go. So he wouldn't let me sail the boats, but unofficially, he let someone take me out round the lake a few times. Much to my annoyance, the guy that he let me take out used to like doing dry capsizes without letting anyone know in the toppers. So he'd find it really funny when he stayed bone dry and you'd get catapulted into the water. But as a youngster, that was the greatest feeling in the world. Like, yeah, I get to go
Yeah,
really fast and then end up really wet. And every so often, he'd let you come from wrapped around the mast into the sort of cockpit, if you will, and give the boat a steer. And that was it. As soon as I turned 10, I was into the cadets, and the very first opportunity that they said, "Look, we've got some sailing this weekend," I was the first name on the list. And my mum and dad became very good friends with the bloke that was the CO of the cadet unit. Unfortunately, he passed away suddenly when I was 13 or 14, which was quite a sort of sad moment. He went to work as he would normally, complained he had a bit of heartburn, and then collapsed, and that was it. Heart attack completely. This bloke used to do all the physical fitness around the cadets and the sailing and the rowing and stuff, and he used to run marathons, and yeah, he just stood up from his desk, and that was him. But
Blimey.
the person that was the 2IC of the unit became the CO, and she was quite good friends with my parents as well. So they maintained that relationship, continued to go sailing. And then once I'd actually joined the Navy, I didn't know about any of the sailing opportunities that they had. So I stopped in 2006 and didn't do anything again until 2012.
And so you join the Navy and they don't do sailing, apart from on
Yeah,
big boats.
they the greater advertising. I shouldn't really say this, but the greater advertising the football and the rugby and like the hockey and the tennis and things. But a lot of the PTIs that I came across in my career, I don't think they've seen sailing as a sport. So whenever you ask what there is to do, they never really
Yeah.
tell you about that.
Buggers, isn't they?
Yeah, but once I found out it was there, I took full advantage of it and used it as much as physically possible.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But when I was in the phase two training role, I did encourage the lads often. So look, is anyone into this kind of thing? And did manage to get a few people to come out sailing, and one or two of them didn't like it, but a few of them loved it and kept it up for a few years until they ended up in positions where they couldn't really get the time off to do it. But
Yeah. It's such a shame. I mean, I think part of the problem there is that the military is getting smaller, and
yeah,
and they're doing a lot more with a lot less people. So at the end of the day, they are going to be struggling to be able to get people away on jollies. You've got to be really lucky and in the right place at the right time to be able to go and do some adventure training or to go and do a bit of sport. Um,
I mean,
I suffered the same thing in London. I got uh, the London District incremental rugby team together. Oh, what's going on there? We've got is there a bit of
the
echo
word.
going?
Oh, didn't hear anything this end.
All right. Um, yeah, so I've got this team together. I've got some echo coming back at me here for some reason. Bizarre. Anyway, we played a few games and then we went up against a well-established team, the 2RRF, which was basically, I think they was the Fijian national side. we got battered a bit.
Had something similar when I was on the before I went submariner. I was on ships and was on HMS Montrose. Did a standing NATO Maritime Group 2 deployment around the Mediterranean, and stopped in a place called Taranto in Italy.
All right, yeah.
They said, does anyone from the ship's rugby team fancy playing the local rugby team? And because none of us had ever heard of them, we went, yeah, we're all up for that. The game was on a Saturday morning, and we'd been at sea for about 4 or 5 weeks. And the Friday night, none of us were duty because of having the game the Saturday morning. So the whole of the ship's rugby team sort of descended upon the town and found that there was only a few bars in this place. It was quite small. So everyone got a little bit tanked up, went out on the Saturday morning wearing sort of the ship's rugby team tops, your own shorts. No one had any studded boots because we weren't expecting to play while we were away, so it was your trainers. And we came up against an Italian semi-professional rugby team that absolutely decimated us. The first scrum that we went into, because nobody had any boots on, it was almost like they hit us and we moved the length of the field back before the referee decided to stop.
So you was actually a training sled for them, were you?
Yeah, but pretty much. If they'd have put some crash mats in front of us, they could have used us as one. It was it was quite embarrassing. I think from memory, the overall score was something like 33 or 34-9. We were just the
Oh, that's
the
not bad.
the
Oh,
couple that we got in was purely because we had a young St Vincent lad that he was sort of coerced onto coming on the team, and nobody could touch him in a straight line. He was like a rocket going off the start. Like as soon as, are you there still?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was,
he was like
I just soloed you.
yeah,
I can do it to
he,
me as well. Look.
yeah. I thought he dropped out then. Yeah,
No,
this
no.
young St Vincent lad was like a rocket to him. As soon as he got the ball and he started running, even the semi-professional Italians couldn't touch him. But it was one of them types that could do his mile and a half in just over 6 minutes 30. So yeah,
Yeah.
there wasn't many people that could keep up with him. He got the free down that we got, but missed the conversions every time.
I suppose that's trying to kick in plimsolls, is it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was
They
it
weren't
was
they
embarrassing
weren't
when
the
I
old
look back at
silver
it.
shadows, or were they proper plimsolls?
One or two people did have the service. It was whoever wanted to do fitness while they were away, because there was the gym facilities available on the frigate in the Winchwell, and a couple down in one of the chilled water plant rooms. There was a couple of exercise bikes, like a weight bench and a
Yeah.
cross trainer, and yeah, a few people would do it. We had a remembering back from that. I never mentioned this when I did the podcast with you previously. We had a 100-mile run to do around the upper deck. So, or was it 100 laps? No, it was 100 miles. It was 100 miles run across the whole deployment, but around the upper deck. And
Yeah.
because on the 23s, everything was open, sort of a waist up either side, and you could cut behind where the 4-5 is. They made essentially a running track on the upper deck. And the only time that you wouldn't do it is when it was a little bit too rough. So
Hmm.
every opportunity that people had, you'd see them running. Either that, or the people that went up there in the fitness gear and were intending on running realised how sunny it was in the med and had sunbathed for half hour instead.
All come back tanned today.
Yeah, I had very much what I called my engine room tan. That was, I had a V down here that was really brown,
Yeah.
and from where the shirt sleeves are rolled up to
Yeah.
was brown, and
Dark
everything
arms.
else was like a milk bottle. I was
Excellent.
quite lucky that I never ended up with the Guinness tan across here, where
Oh,
uh, we're being inside in the engine spaces most of the time, or when I'm outside, um, like climbing up and down bits and pieces, not wearing headgear. It was quite lucky. There was a lot of people that were doing like the upper deck sentries that you'd see them, and they'd be extremely brown up to here, and then they'd have
yeah.
almost an inch of just
Where they're wearing the
where
rat.
the berry had sat.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to put a plug out to the people who are watching this live. Can you put a comment in the comments box, just in the chat box? Just say, hi, we're here. And also hit the like button. It's important to hit the like button. You know that, don't you? And it doesn't cost anything at all to subscribe. So you can subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Thanks. Anyway, back to Steve and the chat. So we're having a so, so people are wearing these bizarre bizarre outfits to go and run round the deck in, and then ended up sunbathing.
Yeah,
Did you have were females on the boat at that time, or
yeah.
had you,
Where that was a ship, that wasn't a stag ship. That was a mixed one. There was a couple of female officers. I think there was 5 or 6 female senior rates and 18 female junior rates. And that was at the start. Towards the end, they had to swap some of the rooms around because they ended up with more female junior rates. They ended up with 26 of them. So I only remember that because the mess decks were numbered. So they had a 39, an 18, and 26 and a 30, and the girls started in the 18 and had to move to the 26.
all right?
Which, yeah, that that was all interesting. That's part of the reason why I ended up sort of not liking ships is they had a massive crew change. I think I mentioned this last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Had a huge crew change not long after they got back from the deployment, and they were going out and doing a lot of extra sea time and training around Scotland. And when the crew changed, it was almost like somebody had pulled the plug on morale on board. Like almost a third of the ship's company was new, and not necessarily new, but new to the crew, and it just didn't quite gel as well as it did previously. But I still took the opportunities that were available there to make some new pals. Some people I'm still in contact with now, and I did that deployment in 2006.
Yeah.
So was that 10, 15 years later, 16 years later, still friends with some of them.
That's good. That's so. But I guess you get that anywhere you go. We have a big changeover of staff. Sometimes you'll run into those problems.
Yeah, I think part of it was out of the third that changed, probably about 50% of them were brand new out of training. It was like, here's a ship you can go to. So you had people that were non-qualified, so you were doing more duties, which was sort of putting a bit of a downer on people. And then you had the people that had to take leave that didn't have it. So people that gelled well and worked well were off taking various bits and pieces. So for about 3 months, you were running on 50% manpower, or 50% sort of workforce, I think is the correct term for it now. And
they keep coming out with these daft ideas, don't they?
Yeah,
Keep changing
someone
things.
somewhere will get upset. But yeah,
So,
they changed that much, and then it just became sort of difference. The only word you can use there, where it was a great place to work previously, or a great ship. Everyone sort of, there wasn't any arguments or people falling out, and then in the space of about 3 months, we had a couple of people that were sleeping in the same gulches in the mess deck as each other, offer each other out, and various sort of people that were new into sort of senior 8 positions just come back off course, trying to distance themselves from the people they've been sleeping with in the mess decks 6 months previously. So I guess the only way of wording that is people trying to make the right name for themselves, but maybe going about it the wrong way. And then they did away with the old system of like how people were disciplined, and they brought in the minor administrative action, the MAAs, and people were just handing them out for next to no reason. So there was so someone did the darkened ship routine in the evening. They never actually requested to go on the bridge, and they darkened the bridge out without actually, and they put them on administrative action for it, rather than saying, yeah, it's your first time doing it, this is what you've got to do, make sure you follow the like the maintenance instruction type of thing. And it got to the point where, like, I think there was more people leaving the ship than they were joining it. So it wasn't the nicest place to work, and I actually considered leaving the RN altogether at that point, because it was really not pleasant. I was based out of Plymouth, and I think I said this last time we spoke. My great uncle lived down there, but he passed away in the summer when I got back from the deployment. So I had no reason to be based in Plymouth anymore. I tried to put a ship swap in for Pompey, but I think the ship's reputation had already preceded it. So plenty of people said no, they weren't swapping. And then I found someone that did want to swap, and the chief stoker said that he wasn't as qualified, so they weren't going to lose a qualified person for a non-qual. So that was sort of torpedoed out the water before it started. And then the opportunity came to go on the submarines, and when I took that, I moved up to Scotland because a lot of my family's still up in Edinburgh, and that was it. I never looked back. But in the time that I'm saying it was really bad on the ship, I mean, we did get to do some great things. They went all around the lochs and the isles of northwest Scotland. Some of the sites that you see there, you'd think you're in the Caribbean, apart from the fact it was like October, November, and extremely cold. Some of the little beaches and coves and things are absolute. I mean, I know you've sailed up that way.
Yeah. We did it a couple of years back, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, the weather was just, it wasn't kind to us, but that put kind of dampener on it. But yeah, up in the Western Isles is great. And so we were up in Gairloch, and we got stalked by a submarine. And then we went into Rue, and the submarine followed us in. But we were going to go up to the top of the lock there and drop the hook for a couple of days. But we caught a bus up there, and it been absolutely pouring down with rain, and we got up there, and it was a bit sad to see. Actually, there was a lot of looked like abandoned boats stuck up there that sort of just left, all horrible, and yeah, it wasn't particularly a nice look up there at all. So
No, there's quite a few where the Rue Narrows Yacht Club is. There's a few boats that I'm sure were there when I very first went up there in 2007 that probably still haven't moved now. I think they've got their own ecosystems growing on the decks, just moss and mould and
yeah, I think
various.
you're right. Actually, there's a quite a long, looked like a wooden boat that it looked as though it had sort of taken root, had been there forever. And it's just so sad to see a boat in that sort of state, really. But there you go.
Yeah, there's occasionally a few of them that sort of washed up at the Gairloch Head, where people that had the anchorages off Helensburgh, if the bad weather had came in, it had sort of broken the boats free and they drifted up the loch. Every so often, you'd see the Faz Lane sort of rescue boat for the sailing club go out and tow something in that's been bashed off the shore or off another boat, and not pleasant to see at all. You think
No,
sometimes that's not that they're not looked after, that's someone's pride and joy that's just broke free as well. But what I
yeah,
find when you're up that way is if instead of going up into Gairloch, if you go the other side of the mainland, and I think it's Loch Goyle and Loch Long up that way, it's nowhere near as busy, but it's so picturesque.
yeah. We did go up that way. In fact, we came around the bottom there, and then we went up, and then we followed it all the way round, and came back down to um, come to me in a minute, Campbelltown.
Yeah,
So it goes up round the top of Isla. Is it Isla? No, not Isla. Iona. Is
yeah,
it
where the Mull joins the mainland.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really good from that part of it. So yeah, I'm not quite sure where everybody else is. I pinged a few people out to come and join the show, but haven't seen anybody come in yet. It's just the two of us. Magic moment. How's that?
Yeah, came through clear. That works.
Brilliant. Chuck some of this into the mix. And the people that are watching, please put a comment in the chat and smash the like button. Just it. There's a little thing there. You go click like, or put an emoji on. That's even more fun. So at the moment, it's Steve and me just having a bit of a chat about stuff. So please come and join. It's down to you guys to set the agenda. So yeah, I don't know why people aren't putting comments in the box. It's there. It's there to put comments in. Can you put a comment in, Steve?
Just going to try on the
chat
link.
box.
Don't think that it's. I don't think it's going to let me comment because I'm using my phone. It'll let me put a private one in, but not a public one.
All right. That's a shame. Yeah. So the people who are out there watching, can you just do us a favour, just check in, just give us a click to say that yes, it's working, or no, it's not. So
And I'm trying to hit the like button off my screen here, but that's not working either. So I'm not sure
no,
if the links are not working today. But
it's a wonder, isn't it? I mean, I can see people in, and I can see there's one like been hit, but it'd be useful if some other people had put some likes on. So I'm just going to put a comment in the chat. Just pop that up. How's that?
yeah, I can see what's going in the chat. I just can't comment on it. You put please have a go at the like button, and that's come up on the Facebook and the YouTube emblem.
All right, excellent. So yeah, I can do that as well. Boom. That's interesting the way that works. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's put the same comment up with a link to both streaming platforms, I think.
Yeah, because we're going out on YouTube as well. So if there's anybody watching on YouTube, can you give us a thumbs up? Pop a. I'm sure you can do it in YouTube. You can put a like on it. That'd be good. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's occurring, but we are live on a Saturday afternoon. I don't know what time the rugby starts. There's Scotland Wales in there in Cardiff today. I don't know who England have got, but it was a bit disappointing last week. I think that they didn't get that win that they should have got.
I've not really been watching it because I've been working most weekends recently. It's been on in the background at work, but 9 times out of 10 when the matches have been playing, it's been when we're quite busy. So it's just been a sort of a quick glance at the screen in passing to see what the scores have been.
Yeah, so I missed all the games last weekend. I don't know what happened there. We were yeah, because we don't watch live TV, didn't get it. So just going to bring in this other, just put that.
Yeah, I can see that on the screen. That's the other camera you've got on yourself in the desk. Don't know if I'm getting any audio out of that one though. Nothing.
Yeah, for some reason, I can't unmute that one. And when I drop myself down into the green room, it for some reason, yes, it's interesting that that doesn't sound. Put the sound on, but there you go. Pulled it up again. Wonder if that'll work. Yeah, so I can pull that across. There you go. That's having a look at me in the studio. This is how I've set up. So I've got my main mic here. There's my mixing desk. I'm on an M1 iMac. I've got an iPad here I'm monitoring with. Let me see if I can. Where's the easiest way? If I pull that round, so you can see that I'm monitoring what I'm putting out, which is good. And it's weird because there's about a 10-second delay. So I try not to watch that one because it's got a 10-second delay on it, which is really funny. And then I've got that set up over there out the way. So this is how I'm set up. And just the other side of the desk there, you can see the mic and headset for my guests when they come into my studio, and we can sit and have a chat, and I could get some really good quality audio out of what we're doing. So let's what's that do there? Yeah.
Where you mentioned the 10-second delay, that was when I mentioned the videos that I tried to make using the editing software.
Yeah.
The crossover phase between the two aspects of video. So I was trying to do a sort of before, during, and after of what I was making, and when you try and merge them together, unless you sort of fade one out, stop, and then fade the other one in, what it said is you're supposed to be able to sort of merge them so one sort of fades into the other. But as you did that, the audio went all jittery, and you ended up with like a and then it's coming with the next one. But the audio would have still been playing. So where you've merged them, the sort of 5 or 10 seconds overlap in between has put that overall 20 seconds of video sort of merged together. So when you try and watch it, if you watch it without the audio on, it looks perfect. And as soon as you put the audio on, you get that almost lag in the audio to the video. So the sound effects were where they originally were, but the videos moved, but the backing audio came with the video. So I think I need more practice with that before I can put anything out.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and effort to audio edit audio. It takes even longer to do video. I've had some nightmares just recently where I had one. I downloaded one of the interviews I did, and for some reason, the sync was out, and I just couldn't get it to work at all. So unfortunately, I couldn't put that one out as a video podcast. But I've managed to put out a few that are really good. I've got one coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode coming out is a guy called Terry. He was fascinating. I managed to cut it down to I think it was just over an hour, but he's got a fascinating story. But he's written a book about the fourth age, and in this book, what he says is that, contrary to popular belief, the world population is declining. It's not growing like people imagine, and the reason for that is that places like India, India's got a real problem. They've got, I think it's about 25 million men in India that have got no chance of getting a wife because they're kind of breeding out women, which is bizarre. I mean, it really is bizarre. And then China, their problem is even worse because of their policy of having one-child families, and most of them want to have boys. So girls get knocked on the head with their babies, and they have a boy. So I don't know the exact numbers, but an awful lot of Chinese have got no chance of reproducing. And then if you look at the Western world, we're in a similar position. We're not reproducing as quick as we should be.
No, I've seen a a factoid the other day that was for the first time since records began, and I think it was 1826 or 27. Um, just looking at people under 30, it is at this point in time, taken in 2021, the lowest number of people since records began almost 200 years ago, where people under 30 have not actually had kids. So that sort of tallies in with what you've just said there, that we have had a spike in population over the last sort of 4 or 5 decades, and then we've got to this one, and I'm sure they said it was high 40s, like 46, 47, 48% of people at that age range haven't
Yeah,
actually had kids or have decided that they don't want kids. I guess with the cost of living going up and cost of people's hobbies going up, a lot of people like myself have gone, well, don't really want to give up doing what I do, which makes me me. So we made the decision that we're not really planning on having kids, and thought I was in the minority until we realised that that is actually somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of all people a similar age range have sort of made the same decision, which
yeah. I mean, that's really strange, isn't it?
yeah, it all sort of came about at once as well. So there's not really like a steady decline. So if you look at the data from 10 years ago, like the generation in front, they were sort of 70 to 80% of them having kids by the time they were 30, and then it's dropped off by almost a half in 10 years.
Yeah, and I think by the end of the century, the population of the world is going to be quite small. Which, I mean, if you look at it realistically, it's probably going to be a good thing, because the amount of resource that people are sort of using and wasting a lot of the time um, probably won't be worth sustaining. So unless they go off to other planets and start mining stuff there, and or going and I don't know, it's an interesting subject. And so he's written this book, and it's absolutely really interesting what he's come up with. So I'll just I've just tried to send a message in, but it doesn't seem to have worked. So oh, hang on, is that, oh, hang on, let's try this. Let's bung one of them in. I'm just gonna drop me down for a second. I'm just going to leave you. If you ever carry on chatting, I'm just going to do something here.
Yeah, no, we're not quite sure what to chat about at this moment, because we've covered quite a bit. Trying to stay off of the normal topics like COVID and politics and bits and pieces like that. I suppose people have enough of that in the news. Your comments just worked. The Hi
Yeah,
Guys one showing on Facebook.
yeah,
That came through.
So that's working. Let's see if I can stick one of these up. Is that going to go up?
Does it say how many people are watching us at the minute?
We've got the grand total of one at the moment. We've had four on. Four have popped their heads in and gone again, but we're down to one. So if that one person could just please put a comment in the chat. If apparently you just swipe across the screen and put a comment in, and then press send. And if you can also, that's not worked. I tried smashing the like button, but it's
I tried it as well off the link, but it didn't work. So it's sorry, I've got a.
It's kind of showing that it's going up, but it's not coming in there for some reason. I wonder if that works. If I can do that. Where am I going to share it to? Oh.
I've got another cat trying to join me.
Software updates to try to authenticate user. Oh, it's,
This is the most antisocial animal I've ever met until you put a camera in front of yourself and then it decides that it's coming to sort of take over the screen.
just get rid of that. So for some reason, something's not happening there. Oh. Apparently, there are lights going on. Now we've got 3 people. So, yeah. So, if you are watching, can you just click a like and just put a comment in the chat box, just so we can see that it's working, because we're not sure whether it's working or not at the moment. We are having some fun. We are really having some fun trying to get this sorted out. This is a new system that I'm using. It's called StreamYard, and I did a guest appearance on somebody else's podcast last week, and they were using this system, and I thought it was brilliant. So so I've looked into it, and it seems to work a lot better than the system that I've got, that I was using, basically. Let's do that. Yeah. So I'm able to do quite a lot with this. As you can see, I've got things scrolling across. I can put the comments up, take them down. I can change things. Look, yeah, have a look at this one. It says, "I'll be back in a few
I'll
moments."
be back in a few moments instead of the Thirsty Thursday rant.
Yeah, and then we'll go back to that about joining the show, and then I can change the branding. So this is powered by StreamYard, which is the guys that I'm doing. There you go. And
screen's changed to be black rather than blue.
Yeah, let's hide that, so you can see what we're doing. And I could actually, let's go down here. I can show that, and that's done a subtle change, but I can go even better still. Let's look at him. Look at him looking through there. I mean, that's going to hang on. Let's. that's the ship's cat. So
is he missing not being on the water, do you think?
I think he is. He does like to get out on a boat, certainly. So let's get rid of that. Let's go back to that. Put that back up there. That's good. And then I can do this. Let's take that out. Oh, hang on. No, I've got to do that first. Ta-da! Put that back on. Oh, that's how he did mine. So so that doesn't quite work, does it? Go into classic mode, go into that mode, go into that mode, go into that mode. So there's a ton of stuff I can do with this, which is great.
When did you start using this one then, Tim?
Just the other day, literally Thursday, when I went on to the doing the live chat on Thursday, I was using it, and a couple of people sort of popped in messages in the chat when I went live, but it doesn't seem to be working at the moment, which is a shame, because it was it's I think I need to do something. Yeah, I proved it was. That I proved that the comments were working because I stuck that one in.
Yeah, that one's came up through Facebook.
Yeah.
Did you have to do that on your iPad that's watching it? Because
Yeah.
I've got this up on the internet on my phone, so I'm guessing if I close the tab down to go and try and put a comment on through Facebook, it might spit me out of the room.
It might, yeah. It might. Anyway, it's worked off for this one, so that's all we can go with. So I know it's working. It's just people are frightened to do it. It doesn't cost anything, by the way, to put a comment in, and it doesn't comment at all, or it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. So you can hit the subscribe button, and it doesn't cost you anything. And then apparently you can also put on a notification, and the notification will let you know when I go live again. so subscribing doesn't cost anything. So please comment, share it with your friends, smash the like button. Yeah, it would be nice if somebody put a comment in and say hi guys and how we all doing. But it's what it is. Oh, there's a new view.
Yeah.
Oh, let's put him into the middle. How's that?
That works. That's a bit different.
Yeah, that is a different shot, isn't it? I quite like that. So, anybody out there, tell us whether you like this shot or not. This is. I've just done something fairly different.
If you had more than two of us going at once, could you still keep that format but put additionals? Or
I think the way this works is I think I can have up to 10 people on the chat, which there's lots of different views on here, and I can swap these about. So I'll pop him down there and put you up there. There you go.
yeah, that works as well.
Yeah. So we can switch him around as we like. And it also gives us the ability to put in different stuff. Why has that not worked? Oh, that's gone. No. There you go. And then drop him into the middle. Yeah. So I've got the ability to share a screen on here. I've got the ability to put in a maybe a PowerPoint presentation. I did. If I go to here, I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. So bear with me. I'm just going to hit this button.
The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
Welcome to the Tim Heale Podcast. This is a little bit of new for me. I'm going live stream tonight on Facebook. So if you'd like to join me, ping me a message and I'll ping you the link. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to let you set the agenda for the old Thirsty Thursday rant. So if you want to join me, you know what to do. Thanks for listening.
The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
There you go. How was that?
Yeah, that worked. Got the audio off of it, got the video, and it muted the microphone this end so no one can overtalk the ad almost while it's going on.
Oh, hang on. I'm just doing some typing in. I think that worked. Find out in a second. Oh, it's popped up in there.
Got something off the chat. It says, yeah, please join us and pop up a comment.
Yeah, so that was me popping in a comment. So you can see it's all going live. So this is not... I'll tell you what I've got going on my screen. I wonder if I can show you. It's actually typing as I'm talking. Bring that down. So
it's got the auto subtitles.
yeah. So that's going on at the moment. How's that? So that's what I'm seeing on my monitor. So I can see it's all going on there, and I have smashed the like button, and for some reason it's pinging it up, but it's not showing anything.
I wonder if there's a delay on it, because I've tried to hit it off of the StreamYard web page, hitting the like button, but I don't know if that's a live link or not off of there.
I don't know, because I've got this on that's on Facebook. So I've got that on Facebook. I'm just gonna bear with me. I'm just gonna swap this over and see if I can get it onto YouTube. Have I got YouTube on here? I don't think I'm. No, I'm not sure I've got YouTube on here. Where are we? Where is it? Can't see it. So no, I'm going to have to go back to there. Yeah. So I think the next time I'll do it, I'll set up so I can see YouTube on here. Let's drop him down. So I'm not sure whether one of those is me, but there is somebody else out there. So
watching the or listening to the Thirsty Thursday rants and something, and the various bits and pieces, I did have what I thought was a spark of genius to do, almost like a podcast show called One Guy's Opinions. I just pick a random subject and not necessarily go off on a rant, but just voice one person's opinions on the matter. And it was pointed out to me by the missus that that's probably, given some of my opinions on things that don't necessarily line up with what people want to hear, the easiest way of getting it shut down. I have to keep starting again from scratch. And I went, yeah, she might have a point.
Well, you can but try. I mean, I've managed to get away with it so far.
Yeah, it's one of them things where I'm because I'm still trying to start the YouTube show off. I've put it on the back burner for now, and just sort of I'm jotting down all the ideas that I've got, and then whatever ones are still relevant when I get around to doing it, I'll cross off the ones that maybe aren't so relevant at the time, and just crack on with what I've got left.
Yeah, well, I've been ranting for quite a while now, but they forced me into it. They have forced me into it. Let's face it. There's so much going on at the moment that really needs addressing. Now, but they're not. They're focusing in on a couple of single issues. Like, I mean, I'm sick to death of bloody Partygate. When we've got 130,000 Russians looking at screaming across Europe, and it's hardly in the news, and they're still crossing the channel in large numbers. All those calm days we had last week, they were coming across every single day, and there's nothing, not a single mention in the mainstream media.
I've seen a.
Do you know how much it's costing us taxpayers a day? No, a week. I think it's £4.7 million a week to keep all these illegal migrants in hotels.
I've seen something that I don't know if the link worked or not. I tried to send it. It was on one of the Commonwealth Forces pages that I sometimes frequent. And the 40th anniversary of the Falklands was coming up, and the veterans had booked the hotel closest to where the celebrations were being held. And they were told that they'd have to vacate the hotel and they were going to be moved. It was either 7 or 8 miles away, and many of them can't walk. Like some of the injuries that they've got are just age related now, but a few others is sort of injuries that occurred whilst in
Yeah.
service. And we're talking sort of paras, marines, and navy here as a combined sort of not just one force or the other. And the hotel that they were meant to be going into essentially told them all they'd have to move to this other hotel 7 or 8 miles away, which didn't have as nice of facilities and whatnot. And when they questioned it, they were told that they were taking on the latest load of people that had been picked up by Border Force.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the amount of hotels that are taken out. There's I suppose close on 40,000 that housed in hotels at the moment, which they're not addressing. Last year they sent back 5, and I saw something today where a court has the council have taken this guy to court. They've got this council's now got to pay for this guy to have pay £10,000 for this guy to have flying lessons when he's being kicked out of the country next year. They've also got to pay for his accommodation and everything. It's going to cost them another £30,000 just for this one guy that hasn't got the right to stay here, that came here illegally.
I'm not sure if it was the right figures or not, but I've seen something that was reported that said that just the people that that they're aware of that are collected up and put in the system is averaging somewhere between 11 and 1,200 a week.
Yeah,
which
don't doubt
in
it for a second.
comparison to previous years has gone up like tenfold almost. And when you think about that, that's just the people that are caught. That's not people that are that's majority coming across from sort of France and across the coast that way.
Yeah,
That's not the people that are clever enough to sort of go up to Holland and brave the North Sea and come across, or come across sort of the Bilbao and Santander into Pompey routes or anything like that. That is purely the sort of Dover Calais route.
yeah. It's just I don't know why. I don't know why it's why we can't do something about it. Well, I do know why we can't do anything about it. It's because we signed up to the ECHR, and the ECHR says we can't do anything. These people have got their human rights. Well, sack that off straight away. That would be the first thing. Even Theresa May, when she was Home Secretary, said that we should get rid of the sign up to the ECHR, and have our own. And if we do that, then we can get rid of these people. And until we do that, our hands are tied. And what they also need to do is stop giving them legal aid.
Yeah, someone that I worked with was on about this the other day, and I said personally, it's completely wrong. And
Yeah.
I was accused momentarily of being racist. He said, "Well, you can't say don't take someone because the human rights and this and that." And I went, "Well, I'm not saying don't take migrants. I'm saying don't take illegal migrants. There's people that,
There's
that
a
have
big
done
difference.
the correct paperwork and procedures, and they're being put further and further down a list. And then you've only got to look, and I know you've mentioned it a few times in some of your rants, the number of people that helped out, not just ourselves, but all the sort of Commonwealth forces in Afghanistan. That you've got a list of people as long as your arm that
There's a lot
put
left
their
there.
lives on the line for the country that's not even their country, and as a thank you, they're being left somewhere where they're likely to be persecuted and there's people that you don't know anything about them, the background, what they've done, what groups are associated with, that because they can make it 18 miles across in a dinghy are
Yeah. Well, they don't even need to make it that far.
no, I suppose they've only got to get out of French territorial waters as it is, haven't they?
They don't even do that half the time.
I've seen the French are escorting
We're
some.
actually, border force is actually going into French waters and picking them up. And you've got the French warships escorting them, make sure they don't get run down by a big ship. Why aren't they picking them up and taking them back?
I'm sure if that went the other way and we sent a couple of P2000s to escort them back to the beaches of
Yeah,
the other side of the channel, that we'd be ostracised as well.
yeah. And then when they all when you get a boatload of these tips over and they're all drowned, what and then they blaming us for it. It just beggars belief sometimes. But there you go. These things he sent to try us.
Yeah.
But there you go. I've had enough of talking about illegal migrants. It just gets me back up and I'll get all angry and
I suppose you more so than me, because you've worked with some of the people that
yeah,
said
well,
are stuck elsewhere currently, that we don't know if they're okay or not, and said they've risked everything to help out people while they're there, that they're sort of been put lower down a priority list than someone that's essentially breaking the law.
yeah. Well, I've still got friends that are there, which yeah, they're still there. I'm still getting information from them and what's going on, and the Taliban are actively going around seeking these guys out and killing them. In several provinces at the moment, they're doing it. So my mates are living in fear of their lives. They've already killed one of my mates. So it's a bit annoying, if nothing else. It's yeah. What can I say? What can I say? But there you go. These things are sent to try us. Anyway, we've got a few minutes left. On this, we've got 7 minutes to go. I think 6 or 7 minutes. Because I need to go, because I've got a recording to do this afternoon. I've got a guy joining me from, I think, Canada. I'm going to do his life story. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. And that will go out in a couple of weeks' time. So got one going out tomorrow. It's really, really good. One next week's really good. They've all been really good. So I've enjoyed doing them, and I think I'm getting a little bit better at asking the questions and stuff.
So you said about the guy Terry that's coming on and the book that he's written. Is that mentioned in the
yeah, we
podcast?
We talk at length at it in the second half of the show, and there's links in the description that should be links to his book and stuff like that. It's available on Amazon over here, apparently.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more reading this year. That was one of my things. Is I used to be able to read like a book a week minimum, and
yeah,
in the last few years that's sort of dwindled off a little bit. One of my things is going to start reading more. So any good recommendations? I was going to ask for the name, but I won't. I'll wait until I've heard the podcast and then take it from there.
Yes, that one's also on YouTube. So I've done it as a YouTube as well, which is quite good. Talking of books, I've had this idea for a long time. I would have had an older brother, but he only lasted 16 hours. He was born on the 22nd of December 1956 and died the same day, more or less. So I've started writing his story that could have been. So it's a work in progress at the moment. So the way I've written it is as him telling his story. So it's all about what he did with his life, where he went, what he did, who he married, that sort of thing. And I get a few mentions in there as well as a third person. So yeah, that's I think if it comes together, that's going to be quite a good tale, you know.
As an interesting concept. I not the same situation, but had an older brother that's no longer with me. He was 4 months old. Parents were involved in a car crash. They were parked at the side of a road, and someone hit the car at well over 100. And fortunately, he was not inside the car carrier at the time. He was in my mum's arms, and the force of the impact would have, from what they were told, would have been instantaneous death.
Yeah.
And yeah, the idea behind that is quite.
Yeah, the life that could have been, that never was, or the life that never was, that should have been, or could have been. Yeah, still working on the title a bit.
But I think for me, that's the idea of how much of a different person would I have been if I've got a younger brother as well, and being the older of the two brothers, I was always told I should know better whether it was my fault or not for what we got up to. And it's that sort of, would I have been the typical middle child, or
Yeah.
would have having the older brother there sort of put me on a different course to what ended up?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good concept. I'd be interested in reading that if you ever get round to doing that.
Yeah, I think it's going to take me a little while to do, but I think I can get there in the end. It's I've got all the ideas and I've got a lot of it down on paper. It's just expanding on it really, and just going forward with it to see where I can take it. Get the timelines, so events fall into place that have happened in that time. Yeah. Sure, that's the way I'm going to go with it. But but with all this podcasting and the Portsmouth and Gosport history group that I'm involved with is all taking up lots and lots of time all the time. It's a good job I don't have to go to work. I wouldn't be able to fit it in.
Yeah, that takes up too much of my time. It's the work that I do is not a standard sort of 9 till 5 day. It's 12-hour shifts, and even though you're meant to do sort of 5 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 5 days off, so you only work half the time.
Yeah.
The number of sort of courses, and we're on demand by 6 people, so the number of overtime days that are available, it ends up being more like 7-8 days on, 2 days off, and where it's 12 hours and some of them are night shifts. By the time you're done, you get home and you sort of look at what you need to do and what you'd like to do, and then have to prioritize.
Absolutely. Anyway, Steve, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. So thank you very much for joining me. It's been great.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting me come on the show.
I'll let you know when the next one is.
No worries. If I'm available, I'd happily do it again. Cheers, Tim.
Brilliant. Take care.
Thanks.
Right then, let's wrap this up.